malty, tasteless, alcoholic dog piss. Hello again and welcome back to Scott and Wanda's World. It's bloody cold again and I'm sat in this bloody shed freezing my little danglies off. No beer review today. I sat, I don't know if it was yesterday, it might have been yesterday, Sunday today. Wanda's in there playing Fortnite with Leah. And yesterday I'm thinking, I wonder how many Brewdog beers I've done on this channel. So, have a scoot through. Excuse me. Still got a bit of a cold. And I thought, that looks through. And I realised I've done almost 40. Almost 40 of the good ship Brewdogs beers on Scott and Wanda's World. So in May, I think it's May the 19th, somewhere around there, May the 20th. This channel's 4 years old. Unbelievable. Unbelievably 4 years old. So, almost 40 Brewdog beers. And that got me thinking a little bit of what are the best and what are the worst Brewdog beers that me and Wanda have reviewed. So, I've painstakingly gone through, I think it's 38, 39. I actually missed one and it's sat over there and it's actually made the top, this video. So there's going to be two videos. The top 10 best Brewdog beers and the top 10 worst. What am I doing all that for? No one likes anyone who does that. Yeah, top 10 worst, in my opinion. Beers that so again caveated with, I can only do the beers that we've reviewed on the channel. That's only fair. You would have seen some of them. You've probably got a guess of some of them that are going to be in the top 10. Both good and bad. So this one's going to come out today. I'll get the other one set up and recorded in the week. I've made some notes. I haven't gone completely unprepared. So yeah, top 10 worst beers from May 2019 to today, January whatever it is, 2022. Number 10 to number 1, worst. There are some honourable mentions within this. First off is Elvis Juice. The re-brewed one, not the original 6.5% Brewdog. Elvis Juice, which was actually really good. Grapefruit infused, really nice, had a nice bitterness to it, absolute cracking beer, and then they ruined it, so it went from 6.5% down to 5.1%, and they just massacred it. Became an undrinkable mess. I know Alan from Spice and Easy was a massive fan of the original grapefruit juice. I don't know what he thinks of the one, and they've actually gone back after a lot of hoo-ha, should we call it, from people that liked Elvis Juice, and they've rebrewed it back to 6.5%, but I don't know if it's the original brew or they've still fucked around with it. But for me, the rebrewed 5.1% was terrible. I think I only ever drank it once or twice. I think it ended up on a live stream that me and Dean did, and it was shocking. So now, honourable mention number 1 is Elvis Juice. Number 2 is the Punk IPA on the Perfect Draft. That's going to upset a few. £41, I think it was, £41.50 for a keg of mediocre IPA. Plus the postage and packaging. Now, I know we're going to get all of the, well, you could have bought 3 and got your 10% off. I ain't made of money. So I paid £41 plus, I think I got the postage and packaging free with my £5 tokens off. But it was crap. I think I did that live actually. and then did a video live with Dave from Blue Van Man actually. And he disagreed with me. He was wrong, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, honourable mentions: Elvis Juice, the rebrew of 5.1%, and Punk IPA for the perfect draft, which was crap. Number 10. Then starting the countdown: worst Brewdog beers on this channel. Number 10. It's Planet Pale. Now, Planet Pale had been around for ages, and I never thought about picking it up, in all honesty. And then my good friend, and he's going to come up a couple of times in this, I'm going to make no apology for it, the universally agreed best beer reviewer on YouTube, by a mile. Dean, he came to mine and Wanda's wedding on the 19th of March last year. First time that I'd actually met up with Dean in person. The next day, I messaged him because I knew him and his lovely wife were still here in the morning. Said, did you want to meet up for a beer and just have a chat, meet up away from the hoo-ha of the wedding, and just have a nice chat. The girls can have a chat and whatever beer. He went, yep. And we had a half of Planet Pale at the Slug and Lettuce in Gunwharf, and it was lovely, refreshing. Citrusy. It was actually a very decent pint, actually. And even me and Dean were sort of quite shocked by it because it was the only thing worth drinking in the Slug and Lettuce. And we were like, yeah, that's all right. So we had a half, and we did a live the next week. It was called Freestyling with Scott and, with Dean's Beer Reviews, I think it was called. And we both said to each other, why don't we pick up the Pale Ale, Brewdog Parallel, and see if it's any better in the can, or if it's the same in the can. And it was rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. There was a mustiness to it. It was really weak in citrus flavours. It was like carbonated lemon water. I hated it. Dean hated it, and it was just really weak. It was a feeble beer, and it was just not very good. Just not very good. And I think that'll run as a theme through. What you're going to find in this is the vast majority of these beers are supermarket stuff. That I'm going to pick up the supermarket beers. Obviously, those are the beers that you can generally get hold of. So yeah, number 10, it was just a bit boring. It was feeble. It was a not good attempt by Brewdog at a pale ale, and that was Planet Pale. And number 10, Planet Pale, which gets us to number 9. It was a beer that, you know, I've been through all of our Brewdog reviews, or I thought I had, and this one I didn't even notice, and you're not going to see this, but behind this camera is Wanda's little shelf, and this can is sat on that shelf because she liked it. Now I'm going to be honest, these are my beers, these aren't Wanda's beers. If she liked the beer, I will be honest with you. So number 9, in my opinion, Brewdog's worst beers I review on this channel, me and Wanda, is Tony's Hopper Only. Which is a white chocolate and raspberry milkshake IPA. Why? Just why? Now, caveated with it that Wanda liked it. Can't say she didn't. Go and watch the review. She likes it because she likes sweet IPAs and sort of like fruity IPAs and things like that. I hated it. Now, she asked me to be polite. I've been back and watched the review, and I could have gone even further than the things I actually said. It was in Sainsbury's. I think it was £3.50, something like that. So Tony's Hopper Only, well-known chocolate. But whoever thought of putting white chocolate and guava into a milkshake? I mean, milkshake IPAs anyway, with their lactose, can be really slimy. It was just really sweet, and I just couldn't get past that whole sweetness. It was absolutely ruined by how sweet it was. And remember, I don't think the chocolate came through very much, but that raspberry just overpowered everything. and again, just wasn't for me. Adjunct heavy, and I think a lot of the stuff that's in this top 10 suffer from Brewdog by being really bad adjunct heavy beers. So number 9, Tony Topoloni, white chocolate and raspberry. You let this sink in. White chocolate and raspberry milkshake IPA. Fuck me. Number 8, and it was a beer that's been around for quite some time, but not in the form that it's currently in, and it's Jackhammer. Now, I've had Jackhammer in the past, and it was a cracking beer. Spiky, a nice bitterness to it, but a hoppy bitterness to it, a pithy bitterness to it. Now, Planet Pale was reviewed on the 25th of March with Dean. Tony Topoloni was on the 20th of July 2021. Jackhammer, again, was reviewed with my good friend Dean on 4th of September 2021. We did a live stream saying, is Brewdog still beer for punks? No, they're not. And it's Jackhammer has changed over the years. It's about 7%, something like 8%, and it's pin sharp. It's an astringently bitter beer, giving like a medicine bitterness, just horrific, and that's all it is. You guys well know, I like a West Coast IPA with its nice bitterness, but it's got to be balanced off with like the grapefruit flavour, the pithy flavours, some orange and all those sort of things, and pine. Jackhammer is literally just a raging, smash in the face bitterness with no grapefruit flavour and very little. It's just aggressive. It's an aggressive beer. It'd be like Vinnie Jones will set on knuckle dusters. It does nothing else apart from 7.5% is magically hidden by this ruthless, aggressive bitterness. It just, for me, it was no redeeming qualities. Bold packaging, but the beer inside, just, I think me and Dean both agreed, just wasn't very good. So number 8 on the worst beers that Brewdog I've reviewed on this channel is Jackhammer. Brings us to number 7. Obviously number 8 and number 7. And that is something I reviewed on the 1st of September last year. And it was in, I think I picked it up in Asda, and it was Way Out West. Their so-called West Coast IPA. I don't think I've got a can. In fact, I think I can crushed it. I picked it up in Asda, about £3. It'd been out months. Before I got hold of it. I'd seen a good friend of the channel, Chris's Beer Reviews. Go and give Chris some love. He'd reviewed it and said it was dreadful. So I wasn't going to pick it up. And decided, do you know what? Curiosity got the better of me. And it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. West Coast IPA. Now you can make a West Coast IPA that have got a slightly different hop build or hop profile, or you can come at it a slightly different way. There's one from Elusive did actually. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Lost Stars. That had a slightly different feel to it and flavours to it, but it didn't have coconut in it, or a coconut flavour or an aroma like like Way Out West did. Just a complete nonsense. It was brewed in collab with Buxton. I don't know why Buxton had anything to do with it, if I'm honest. Buxton have made some tremendous beers, and they've actually got some pretty decent stuff still in the supermarkets. Is it Mantle? Axe Slayer, Kingslayer, all pretty decent beers. Why they put their name in that shit is beyond me. West Coast IPA, it had no components of West Coast IPA. Coconut flavour, so whether it had Sabro or what's the other one? Is it Talus that has coconut? One of those in it. No, I don't want a coconut vibe in my West Coast IPA. It was dreadful rubbish, and it actually offended me. And I think I actually lost my temper during the review. And the can made a welcome addition to the can crusher, because that's what it deserved. It was absolute dog shit, a dog shit of a beer. So number 7, it's way out west. Number 6 on the list of worst Brewdog beers that we've reviewed on this channel is Parma Violets. Their New England IPA. Stop doing that, Scott. Looking like a knobhead. Reviewed on the 12th of September 2021. Me and Wanda, is that one? Me and Wanda have been to Bristol overnight. I took her to see. Did we go? I think we went down to see Beauty and the Beast the night before. The official stage production of Beauty. Wanda's a huge Beauty and the Beast fan, so I bought tickets to go and see Beauty and the Beast, and that's a fantastic beer in Bristol. Left-handed Giant, Wild Beer. Where else do we go? Other bits and pieces. Arbour. And apart from the fact that the only half decent beer they had, we went to the Bristol Hippodrome, was it? Something like that. And a 330ml can of Punk IPA, because it was the only thing I was going to drink. £6.20. Unbelievable. I mean, how they make a profit, Christ only knows. Wanda was paying, I got 2. Yes, Parma Violets, New England IPA. So we came back, we stopped in at Tesco at Winchester on the way back through, and they had this, you had to buy a box of 4. I didn't want 4, because I knew it'd be crap. Come home, reviewed it, and lo and behold, it was crap. Another one, Wanda liked it. So I have to caveat that Wanda did like the Parma Violets. She liked the Tony Hopper only. She's wrong. It doesn't matter. Just a Tesco release. She had to buy a box of 4, £8 I think it was, something like that. Called itself New England IPA, a Parma Violet New England IPA. It just didn't work. Smelt like fucking hairspray. Tasted like hairspray. She asked me to be polite during the video. We actually had a bit of an argument during the video. Not unusual. That she thought it was okay. I thought it was crap. The adjuncts, again, with Brewdog were just a mess. Absolute mess. It was thin, and the components of the West Coast IPA got lost behind that hairspray, lavenderish sort of Parma Violet's bloody flavour. Parma Violet's obviously sweets, for people that don't know. And it was just, the Parma Violet just smashed you in the face. It was horrible. And it left like one of them. I had all 4. I paid for them. But yeah, Parma Violets for me, number 6 on the worst beers that I've had on this channel from Brewdog. Number 5, and we're getting down to the real shit now. Candy Kittens. Which was a raspberry and guava New England IPA coming in from, I think it picked it up in Sainsbury's. Again, Candy Kittens, sweets. So I knew it was going to be sweet, but I didn't, because I didn't know what Candy Kittens were at the time. But adjunct heavy rubbish. Sweet, and just sweet. Even more sweet. Thin. And again, it just, when you're calling yourself New England IPA, it's got to have certain, it's got to be pillowy smooth. Should have a nice sort of creamy body to it, you would think. And this was thin, it was sweet, and it was just a terrible beer. Mess. It was a mess of a New England IPA. It wasn't even a New England IPA. It was more like and there was a horrible astringent bitterness in it. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. I watched a few reviews of it, and I think most people agreed it was just absolute crap. Number 4. Number 4. Let me get down where we got some absolute whoppers here. Number 4. It's been rebranded. It's still in the supermarket. It's Silk Road. Why it's still in the supermarket, why it's still being brewed for a start, is beyond me. It's a lychee, never had a lychee, and mango hazy IPA. Again, absolutely. I picked this one up I think you'll pick this one up in Morrison's, and it was in a green can. Green. I actually remember when I think this is the one where I crushed the can inadvertently. I didn't realise when I was doing the review. I was sat here, I was crushing the can in fucking anger and frustration. Again, adjunct heavy rubbish. Nice looking beer. What's it called? Silk Road. I've got a note here. Silk Road, just got my list of 10. Yeah, looked nice. Body was nice. Artificially horrific sweetness. Just ruining it. Aggressively sweet, I think I called it, something like that. And a complete waste of £3. I didn't even remember that I'd crushed the can. It was that bad. But yeah, and that for me, this was a big problem with Brewdog at the moment, when they put these New England IPAs, weird flavour things into supermarkets. And obviously they're relying on their adjuncts, and they're just not working. A bit like Tiny Rebel. They're just overly artificial, adjunct heavy, sweet messes of beers, and they could do so much better. Brings us to number 3. Number 3 in the worst Brewdog beers that we reviewed on the channel. It's Punk at 15. I've said a lot about Punk at 15. Where is it? It's here somewhere. This is the wrapping up here. Brewed as the 15th anniversary beer, or anniversary of Punk IPA. So a 15% version of Punk IPA. It would have been better if you'd poured it in your car and used it as fucking fuel, because it was rubbish. Utter rubbish. £15 a bottle. I said a lot of this was my worst beer last year, easily, for the price. It was £15 a bottle. It was £6 postage, so 21 quid. In that area, £21 a bottle for something I could have used as a pretty good petrol bomb. It was rubbish, utter rubbish, and it was just an alcoholic bullshit beer. Anyone thinking it's acceptable? Well, we're going to disagree, because it was horrific. I'm not going to spend too long. 27th of May 2022, I reviewed that one. Brings us to number 2. And this was a beer, and it's called Future Proof. And it caused a bit of a stir. So 10th of March 2020 we reviewed this, me and Wanda, and at the time it was right in the middle of the supermarket craft beer craze that seems to have died off a little bit, and everyone was getting excited about the drops that were coming in. This one, I think there was two at the time. There was Future Proof, which called itself a West Coast IPA, and there was Roaster Coaster. Which is sadly no longer available. So Nitro Imperial Vietnamese Coffee Stout. I'll give you a clue, that will be in the top 10 decent ones. So those two beers top 10. And everyone was scurrying to get hold of them. There was a couple of reviews out. Excuse me. And this is a benefit of hindsight review. So you haven't been going that long as a channel. Looking back, and you have to look back and think a bit. So for me, I was harsh on it in the video. If I was reviewing it today, I would be even harsher. So it caused a bit of a hoo-ha, this beer. It was brewed in conjunction with a company called Modern Times at San Diego out in California. And it was just, we'd had all of these really good beers that had dropped in on these craft beers, dropped in Tesco's, Morrison's, not so much Asda and all that, but it was Tesco's and Morrison's competing at the time. Now we got Lidl and Aldi. But yeah, those were the two supermarkets that were really vying for position. And they'd all been fairly decent beers. And then this thing dropped, West Coast IPA, and it wasn't great. And if I looked at it now, astringently bitter, very minimal components of a West Coast IPA. It was just not the best. Sorry, sorry. Hugo came out. I didn't want him involved. Stringently bitter. No pine really. There's no piney bitterness. There's no pithy bitterness. There's no real grapefruit in there. There's no citrus. There's no sort of orangey, marmaladey flavours. It was just rubbish. Rubbish beer. I think I picked up another can to give it the benefit of the doubt. And obviously I didn't review it. It was just a can that I'd had. And it was still terrible. I'm a bit surprised. I know Modern Times out of San Diego have a pretty good reputation, and obviously being out in California, you'd think they'd know what input they had into that. I don't know, can't remember, but you would think a West Coast brewery would be able to brew a half decent West Coast IPA. That wasn't even half decent. It was fucking shocking, and easily deserves its place at number 2. Which brings us to the worst Brewdog beer I've reviewed on this channel, bar none. Now you're probably thinking, well, Silk Road's in there, Way Out West's in there. What else we got? Palm of Islands, Candy Kittens. What, Scott, is your worst Brewdog beer you've reviewed on this channel? I'm not going to tell you, because otherwise it wouldn't be the top 10. It would be the top 9. 10 to 1, 10 to 2. 10 to 2? What time is it? Number 1. The worst Brewdog beer I've reviewed on this channel was Brewdog Parallel. Reviewed on the 6th of February 2020. Now, predominantly back then, we were still Wanda Beer 1, I think, as a channel. Me and Wanda doing beer reviews. I was still very uncomfortable doing reviews on my own. She was in hospital with Leah in Great Ormond Street, actually, and I was doing the odd beer review here just to keep the channel ticking over. Brewdog had just gone through their rebrand, so the old sort of slashing decent cans to the absolute dad slippers that they've got on now. And I did the rebrand video on Punk IPA. I've seen the rebrand, and then I saw the Pale Ale, and they had Indie Pale Ale before that, which I never reviewed. and that was shite. So I thought, oh, wow, I'll pick it up. So picks up this can, and it was rubbish. It's absolutely rubbish. Now you go back and watch the video. Oh, obviously I'm a lot slimmer than I am now. 2 years up the line, life hasn't been very kind to me. It was a malty, pathetic, polished within an inch of its life. It was rubbish. It was described itself as a West Coast classic and a stone cold slayer. Well, if it's describing it as a West Coast classic, is it trying to say that it's got a West Coast vibe to it? Because it had none. Malty, tasteless, alcoholic dog piss. I think probably sums up Brewdog Parallel. Dishwater, I think I called it, and threw it out the shed. It was one of the first beers I seem to remember of me actually launching the beer out the shed. In fact, Dishwater had more character than Brewdog Parallel. It's just rubbish. The worst beer I've ever had from Brewdog. Tasteless, dull, alcoholic dog piss. And I think that sums it up. And I've not had it since. Have I had it since? I think I gave some away. I gave some away because it was that fucking rubbish. Josh Edwards did one. Nick Charlick got one. Somebody else. Can't remember who the other person was. Just utter rubbish. So that's my top 10 worst beers, Brewdog beers, that I've reviewed on the channel. Number 1 being the Brewdog Parallel. You're probably going to disagree with some of these. I like that. What's the worst Brewdog beer you've had? Do you agree with my 10? Would you move them around a little bit? Would you have different ones in there? I think that would be very acceptable. We've not all drank the same beers. So these are all large, I think they're all supermarket iterations. I'm not going to waste my money buying the stuff from the website and the brew shop because it's crap. There are a couple in the top 10 that came from the Brewdog website. But largely nowadays, unfortunately, the stuff they put into the supermarkets is rubbish. Adjunct heavy, overly sweet, or just get it all wrong. And it's sad because I think in all of us, we've all liked Brewdog over the years. I've got an Equity for Punks card that gets me about 3p off my pint when I go over to Southampton every now and then. But yeah, sad, but some absolute crap in that video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, leave a comment in the comments box. If you haven't, leave a thumbs down. If you have liked it, leave a thumbs up. There's a subscribe button if you are new here and you like the channel. Would you like to see some more of these top 10 videos, top 5 videos? I like putting them together, always good fun. This is out Sunday. Have a great week. Stay safe, be kind, look out for each other. And me want to see you soon. Cheers, enjoy your beer, and always drink responsibly. Thank you.